can do is just tell the truth and trust in the American people that over time they're going to know what the truth is.
Yes, it is time for the truth. Right here, right now. This is the Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives. With your host, John Matthews.
The latter-day prophet. Baying against the hypocrisies of our time.
And Joe Hakos.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
The Conservative Syndicate is comprised of some of the most informed pundits and activists available today. Together, we seek to tear down the imaginary wall, a separation between church and state through education, information, and engagement on the religion of politics and the politics of religion. And now, your host on the globally syndicated Conservative Syndicate, John Matthews and Joe Hakos.
Hey, welcome everybody. This is the Conservative Syndicate. We are just syndicated throughout the world, and we're glad to have you here. The Conservative Syndicate. We are a nationally syndicated show that opposes a leftist progressive agenda. Well, it's easy for me to say. The Conservative Syndicate, the show that tears down that imaginary wall between separation of church and state. We here at the Conservative Syndicate seek to tear down this imaginary wall through education, information, engagement, and those seek the truth through uncompromising truth regarding the religion of politics and that politics of religion. I am Joe Hakos. I have John Matthews here. He'll be coming on very shortly. He's doing some technical stuff. It's very high. It's very, very complicated, and only John can do it. And he'll be here in just a moment. So, without further ado, that's French. I know on the Conservative, I'm doing French now. Look out. Yeah. Hey, John.
Okay, yeah, okay, I'm here. I'm in, we're kicking in good here, and let me just start out by saying this. We finally can say this officially. We want to welcome our newest and largest affiliate right now, Red State Talk Radio out there. We're broadcasting live, our debut here at Red State Talk Radio. We're glad to be part of this excellent operation here. So welcome aboard, those of you listening to us out there, and we hope we give a good impression of what we do here at the Conservative Syndicate, and we do you proud out there in Red State Talk Radio. So thanks for the intro, Joe. I had to sit here and monitor stuff just to make sure everything was kicking in right. Technical stuff, live radio, anything can happen. And if you've been listening to us for a while, you know that is true.
And it usually does.
Because I think we've had just about everything in the world happen here. Everything from obscene phone callers calling in. I remember we had our first obscene phone call. Just knocked me out of my chair. I thought, people had a little bit more integrity than that, but, it is what it is. Skype messaging. I mean, we've had it all. We've gone through, I could write a book on what can go wrong during live radio. And maybe I'll do that. I don't know.
I don't know. It could be a pretty big book.
Anyway, a couple of things. The show today, I'm hoping, will be a little bit light, but yet serious.
Okay.
That's not always easy to pull off, but there's just the misstatements and misquotes and gaffes out there are just on both sides of the political aisle, and even outside the actual political arena, is just taking on new proportions. And I don't know if everybody's just so brain dead that nobody really thinks about what they say anymore, or perhaps the people that are saying it have come to the conclusion that, yes, Gruber's theorem is in full force across the United States of America, and you people won't remember anything that a politician said 2 days ago, like just last week or 2 weeks ago. You remember Hillary Clinton out there talking about how she's going to literally destroy the coal industry.
Yeah, absolutely. And then she's trying to woo voters in West Virginia, going, I don't know, we'll find you a job somewhere.
Yeah, and then basically now standing in front of them during the primary season. West Virginia's coming up on the primary schedule here, and trying to walk back her remarks saying that it was a misstatement. I don't know how you misstate this kind of stuff, but it was a misstatement. And now Debbie Blabbermouth Schultz is out there trying to say, no, she really is intent on destroying the coal industry. That was a misstatement that she made when she made the misstatement. You know, it's kind of like, yeah, she was there illegally but lawfully present.
She's just lawfully present, yes.
You know, so now they're trying to walk it back because she's being called on it. You know, you're telling us 2 weeks ago you're going to bury our state, and now you're telling us, oh, no, you didn't really mean that. You know, when you say you're going to destroy the coal industry, I don't know how you misinterpret that. But she pulled one out of the Barack Obama book. My comments are miscalculated, you know, not stated correctly. I don't know how else you state it when you say, yeah, we're going to replace coal with renewable energy and we're going to destroy the coal industry. And, you know, all you coal workers, you know, there's always jobs at Walmart, you know, that kind of thing.
She absolutely said we are going to close coal plants. We're going to destroy the coal industry. She flat out said it. But then again, her hero, Barack, also said it as well, and they've been doing a very good job. Only they've been doing it through the EPA.
Oh, you know, yeah, that was one of the things that happened back in his initial campaign. All these sound bites were showing up of him talking about they're going to run the coal industry and they're going to destroy the oil industry and everything else. And we've talked about that a lot on this show. And what it really is just the proper name for it, the intellectual name for it, the ideological name for it is called creative destruction. And that is redistribution of wealth from one class to another through government, regulation, and everything else. You shut down what's making the economy work now, and you replace it with something else. And, you know, Al Gore's done it. Al Gore's probably the best example we have with his climate change crap. Okay, here's a man that has become a billionaire almost, if not, I think he's pretty close to it anyway, and leaves carbon footprints all over the world as he flies around the world on a regular basis, telling us how bad it is to be flying around the world. You know, it doesn't get any better when you talk with liberals because everything is everything. And sometimes even when they're talking, the very place that they're at, their very presence in a situation or a location is a contradiction of terms in and of itself, and they're still sitting there spewing out their liberal garbage, and I guess they just expect nobody will notice. Nobody will notice, and if you do notice, well, you know, you're just one of those fanatics anyway. So, yeah,
and then if it continues to gain traction, then you just walk it back. That's not what I really meant. What I meant was, and it's like, no, come on, we know what you meant. You meant exactly what you said.
Yeah, you meant exactly what you said.
Stupid.
You want to destroy the industry.
Yeah.
And so, you know, there's no way of redefining that. It's like, you know, sometimes you can get away with it, but not when it comes out, not when you're that blatant about it. I'm going to destroy the coal industry. And then turn around, well, that's not really what I meant. Okay.
Yeah. And their proposals are, well, and it's the same thing they did for the steel workers the same way. Well, we'll find you another career path.
Yeah. So
we'll get you trained, and you know, probably in West Virginia, they'll probably give them small outboard motor training so they can fix boats.
Yeah, so we're going
West Virginia.
Well, here's another one. You know, we're talking about the taxpayer. Obamacare is getting ready to the administration's getting ready to try to bail out Obamacare. Remember how that was never going to happen? That was never going to happen, and now they're trying. But it won't be called a bailout. I guarantee you, that's not what they'll be calling it. You know, it'll be called a rescue mission or a domestic contingency operation or something like that. It'll be given some other name here.
The National Moral Mission of Mercy.
Yeah. So they're actually trying to prohibit what they call the risk corridor program, which is what is causing it to implode. The fact is that we have too many sick people getting coverage, and a lot of those sick people, after they use it, drop the coverage, and we don't have any well people enrolling in the programs except those who were forced by having to give up their plans.
Why would they even want to, John? You're allowed to be on your parents' insurance until you're 26, when you're most healthy, quote unquote.
So
you don't even have to worry about it. It was designed to fail.
So now what's happening is Barack Obama is encouraging the healthcare industry to sue the government. He's encouraging sue the government because Obamacare didn't deliver what we said it was going to deliver. So sue us. You know, and isn't that the premise of everything Barack Obama's done? This is what I'm going to do, and if you don't like it, sue me.
Sue me. Yeah.
That's the way it is. So that we're going to kind of joke around with some of this stuff today, but it is serious, and we hope to get some serious points across to you as we go on through the course of the day. Don Dix will be with us in the second hour from Act for America. He'll be joining us from his show, 590 The Answer, out here in Inland Valley. So he'll be with us second hour. It's time for our first break here. When we come back, we'll continue with our white man rants right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away. We'll be right back. You can catch all our archives at theconservativesyndicate.net. The Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-790-5960. That's 1-800-790-5960. Again, 1-800-790-5960. Call now.
Prices are for base buildings only. May not be available in some areas. Attention business owners, do you want a stimulus package that really works? Before you spend thousands of dollars more than you should on your next building project, listen to this. General Steel has a stimulus package designed to help you save as much as half the cost of conventional construction on your next building. As much as half. That's right. General Steel can save you thousands of dollars with a pre-engineered steel building designed for your business or church. How about a 50 by 100 foot building for under $30,000? So don't pay thousands more than you should without calling General Steel first and save as much as half the cost and time of conventional construction. With the projected demand for steel in Japan and China, prices may be skyrocketing.
877-927-3360. 877-927-3360. 877-927-3360.
Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification require. Cancellation fee, auto pay, and paperless billing and other restrictions apply. If you can't see the difference, why pay the difference? Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Only Dish brings you the best in entertainment for less than $20 a month. Cut the cable and don't get directed. Switch to Dish because at just $19.99, Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. It's so simple. The same channels cost less with Dish. So since you can't see the difference, don't pay the difference. Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Get premium movie channels free for 3 months, starting at just $19.99. Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. Call now to save with Dish. Dial 1-800-600-1645. That's 1-800-600-1645. The same channels for less than $20 a month. Dish. Call 1-800-600-1645 for details.
Folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardoso. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardoso Live, daily, Monday through Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you'll get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decision concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosolive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosolive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
We're back, and you're listening to the Conservative Syndicate, Real Conservative Talk from Real Conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with my co-host, Joe Hakos, and we are glad to be with you. Indiana primary going on out there right now. I have not heard a whole lot of it outside of the fact that everybody seems to think Trump is going to trounce, and this is going to be it. It's going to be all over here. But, you know, it depends. You know, I saw some polls yesterday. I'm beginning to wonder, these polls are maybe they have a dart board and they just throw darts up there. Some polls were saying, Trump was up ahead like 14, 15 points. I saw other ones, one out of the Indiana Tribune, this is a local paper out there, said that Cruz was up by 20 points. So who knows how this thing is going to turn out, and we'll probably find out shortly after we're off the air here in about an hour and 45 minutes. We just happen to be in that cusp out there where we're on before most of the good stuff takes place on the East Coast, and we're coming off, we get off the air right after that, and then shortly after that, whoever's fortunate enough to be on after us will be able to deliver to you the results of everything that's going on. But it doesn't.
It'll be during the news break. It'll be 2 minutes into the top of the hour, and they will have called the race.
Yeah, 10% reporting, and this is what it is, and that's how it goes. Because that's to me one of the greatest paradoxes, one of the greatest mysteries, I guess is the word I should use. Why do you have to be the first network to pronounce who wins, or the first one to show something? Why do you have to be the first one? Why can't you be the most accurate? Why can't you maybe hold back a little bit and make sure that all your facts are, all your T's are crossed and all your I's are dotted, and maybe even have a little bit more in-depth information rather than just the soundbite material? But you got to be, for some reason, you got to be the first network to say something. And we've seen more and more happening more and more. I think it started with maybe the 2000 election, where they've had to retract. They've had to come back and say, oh, wait a minute, we called that one too soon. That's something that is new in the media. At least, we know they're all biased and they're all a bunch of idiots. But at least it used to be you didn't report the results of an election until you actually knew what the results were. But I know the last one, the 5 primaries that just took place last week, I saw some of these results rolling in, and they were calling it for Trump, and it was like 10, 15% reporting. And I'm like, how can you do that? When you have that many districts in a state, you never know. There could be some districts out there that are going to, come in on the other side.
Well, they could have some ballots and stuff stuffed in the trunk of a car somewhere, like one election I recall back there when Obama was first running.
Well, I think they should employ what I call the American Idol rule. And the American Idol rule is once the phone lines are closed, you can't call in anymore. Okay, so this is what it is. You can't report the results until 50% of the precincts have reported. Yeah, you might have a good shot by then, especially if there's a wide gap. But there should be some kind of rule about, you can't be recalling elections when you're only 10% of the precincts reporting.
Well, John, then you're giving these doofuses that are on TV, they won't have anything to talk about because they've been talking about it for a week and a half prior to the election. So if you make them wait until 50%, my goodness, they're not going to have anything to talk about, but maybe how the favorite cupcake that Hillary likes is pink.
Yeah. Well, that doesn't bother me at all. Because a lot of what they say anyway is just garbage anyhow. I mean, it's all... for instance, here, I was just watching this afternoon. She's on Fox News. I don't watch Fox News, especially during the day. Every now and then I will. If there's something really important and I say, okay, I want to get some kind of idea what's going on. Gretchen what's her name? Her name is Gretchen something, and she's one of the anchors during the day at Fox News.
It's Carlson. She was a beauty contest.
Okay. Yeah, kind of like a cougar-looking babe out there. And she's got this other guy, Bill Hellerman, I think his name is. And they got their Wolf Blitzer graphics up on the board, the big board. Anderson Cooper likes this kind of thing, where you can go over and touch screen and things light up and dazzle you with a.
We should get one of those.
Yeah, lights and shiny lights and bells and everything else.
Radio. We should get one of those.
Yeah, gives you an impression that they really know what they're talking about. And they're trying to give a breakdown on the districts, and so he's touching the state of Indiana, and the little districts are lighting up and all this. And I'm listening to him, and I'm going, I don't know. It must be me. I'm listening to him, and I go, so, like, what are you saying? He's spitting out all this stuff, and I'm like, okay, give me some context here. What are you talking about? It made absolutely no sense to me at all. And old Gretchen's sitting there nodding her head like a bobblehead doll, and I'm like, I guess this must be a language that only they know. Maybe that's what it takes to be a journalist these days. You've got to be a master. You've got to major in college in idiocracy. Idiotic. What would you call it? Idiocratic science. There we go. Idiocratic science. The art of saying something without saying anything. Because I couldn't make sense of what the guy was saying.
Oh, you could just go to law school then.
I'm just like, okay, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer all the time, but I'm certainly not dull. And I'm like, I'm sorry, guy. Maybe I should turn it over to Wolf Blitzer because he has simpler pictures.
He has crayon drawings, yeah.
But, speaking of idiocracy, if I can shift gears here just for a second here.
Okay.
The thing on Fox News last night, I mentioned this to Joe at the beginning of the show, and I'm only mentioning it now because there is a point to be made behind it. Last night on Fox News, somebody was subbing for Megyn Kelly. She says she's starting to be subbed for a lot lately. I wonder if she's on her way out, but she wasn't there last night again. And they had some substitute in there, actually better looking babe than Megyn Kelly, so that was okay. They were talking about the White House Correspondent Dinner. And the leftist media out there seems to think that Barack Obama has a career after he leaves the White House as a stand-up comedian. And perhaps he does. He could probably get a spot on Saturday Night Live, maybe imitating himself.
Well, maybe he could imitate Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, or Garrett Morris. Somebody like that.
There you go. He could be the ladies' man.
Yeah, or maybe he could, him and Chris Rock could do something together. I don't know, but anyway,
a lot of people throw up a little bit in their mouths right now. You know that, right?
Yeah. So anyway, everybody seems to think this guy, not only is he a master orator and commentator, but he's also now a master comedian. But what really got me was the entire first half hour of the show. Now, let's put this in context. Everything going on in the country right now, we've got division out there beyond anything we've had since the Civil War. We've got the Black Lives Matter people. We've got the Trumpsters on the other side. We've got violence going on at the Republican convention in California. We've got the Indiana primary hanging in the balance here. All these things are going on. The country's on the verge of going into total idiocracy. And what's the topic? For the first half hour, a total of 12 panel members. 12 panel members? Over the course of 3 or 4 segments in the first half hour. And all they're talking about is Larry Whitmore, a C-list comedian who does some kind of news show on Comedy Central. I think it's the late night news. Who in the hell watches news late at night? But apparently there must be somebody. He probably comes on after that Trevor Noah guy or whatever. Anyway, he's the guest comedian. So even that's a step down because they usually have some A-list people there that speak at the Washington Correspondent Dinner. My favorite guy is Louis Black. I like him when he's in front of his own people. because he takes the gloves off no matter who he's talking about. He hates Republicans more than Democrats, but he does do he is an equal opportunity basher, so I kind of like him that way. Anyway, so this Larry Whitmore is his name, or Wilmore. I didn't even know who he was until this event, okay? Because I don't watch The Daily Show. I don't really care. So anyway, he apparently somewhere in the conversation towards the end of his roast, he was roasting people, and he made a comment to Barack Obama somewhere along the line of, what's he say? I'm going to keep it 100. So Mr. President, I'm going to keep it 100. Yo, Barry, you did it, and he used the N-word, okay? And it got mixed response. Okay, apparently Obama liked it. He liked being called, the N-word. I guess it made him feel black, and it was a mixed reaction. This guy got roasted on The View yesterday by none other than Whoopi Goldberg. In fact, I understand that she's so upset about it. She's actually talking about walking away from The View now, which would be good. That in and of itself is worth it. Okay, if we can get Whoopi Goldberg off The View, not that it really matters because that show
does threaten to leave the country if Trump wins the presidency. So
that show, The View sucks.
Can't the stars align anymore? Gee, go ahead, Whoopi.
That show sucks to the nth degree. And I've mentioned it several times on this show because when I'm at the gym, that's usually what's on TV. So when I'm on my exercise bike, I've got a choice between what's her name, Kelly Ripa, or whatever her name is, a little small, skinny blonde with the big black ex-football player, Mike Steedman or whatever his name is.
And Michael Strahan.
Yeah, you got that, The View, and the Spanish channel. So it's a lesser of three evils, I guess. So I'll be watching The View, and I just listen to these women, and I'm going, my God, what did some man do to you that all you want to do is castrate all the males in the world? And it's just, I don't know, it's just a conglomeration of crap one day after the next. So anyway, so if we get Whoopi Goldberg off this by calling Barack Obama the N-word, then that would be worth it. Okay, but anyway, my point is, at the press the whole half hour on Fox News was about this. And it was about this debate. They call it debate on this comment, whether it was proper, whether it was, and the question, of course, in front of all these Fox panel members was, if a black man can use it, why can't anybody else use it? That was the big debate. Why is it you guys keep getting on everybody's case and jumping on everybody's back if somebody uses the word, but you guys use it just nonchalantly off the cuff and it's not a big deal? Okay,
it is a big deal, but go ahead.
But nobody answered that question. Okay, because what it got into was each person was giving their own personal dissertation as to how much they had been either subjected to ridicule for having white privilege, or the black panelist is kind of like, hey, you guys, you just need to slack off. The only guy that I saw it was one black guy out there, Keith Jackson. He has a show called The Black Sphere. And he went off on Obama and Wilmore and everything else. He goes, this is the height of hypocrisy, that kind of stuff. So anyway, Josh Earnest was asked about it at a press conference, okay? And his response was Obama's cool with it. He was cool because Wilmore was just, he was just, tying it on with the bro. They think alike, and Wilmore is just so inspired by the presidency of Barack Obama that he just wanted to be tight, man. They're bros, they're bloods, that kind of thing. And so anyway,
this is funny.
Yeah, we're coming up on a break here, but I do want to emphasize this, and not for the purpose of falling into the same trap of talking about it for hours and hours. But I did want to point out one thing about it in terms of the height of hypocrisy that Keith Jackson brought up, because that's what I saw. That's what I always see when I see stuff like this. It's the height of hypocrisy. If you guys are so worried about this derogatory term, why do you use it towards each other? That kind of thing. So anyway, we're going to go to a break here, though. But I want to talk. There was a question, a back and forth, 3 questions asked by April Ryan from the American Urban Radio Network to Josh Ernst on this, and Josh Ernst's response I thought was classic. So we'll talk about when we get back here. We'll be right back. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go.
State Talk Radio, WRS Cleveland.
Hey, I'll make you a deal. Give me 60 seconds, and I'll give you directions to the Fountain of Youth. Okay, I'm joking. Well, kind of joking. No fountains, but youth, I got. Nature's Youth and their premier anti-aging product, Nature's Youth RSF. With your sensible diet and exercise plan, Nature's Youth RSF can help you look and feel better. RSF is an all-natural amino acid supplement that supports your body to naturally increase HGH levels without any synthetic hormones. And elevated HGH levels can contribute to increased energy, improved libido, reduced body fat, and improved exercise capacity. Let's be honest. Who doesn't want to look and feel younger? Visit the newly designed website at naturesyouth.com or call 800-333-6923. That's 800-333-6923, and like them on Facebook, and you'll be included in contest and exclusive offers. What a deal. Oh, speaking of deals, my time's about up. 800-333-6923 or naturesyouth.com. Who needs a fountain anyway? Call today.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
When I had a heart attack at 42, I was not sure what the future held. But a year later, the doctors could find nothing wrong with me and took me off all my medication. What did I do? I took a herbal mixture of garlic, cayenne, and a few other herbs mixed in liquid form. I now call this Extendovite. I would have never believed that a few simple herbs could actually change my life like they did. Now it's your turn to see what the powers of garlic and cayenne can do for you. For only $69.95 plus shipping and handling for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid, you too can begin on your path to better health. For more information, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
I've owned my company for 14 years now, and I can tell you that payroll is a 4-letter word. I hate doing it. It eats up hours I don't have, and it costs me money I could be saving. But my accountant's too expensive, and I'm not sure who to call, but I know I need help.
We're Paychex, and we take all the hassles out of small business payroll. We save you time and money. It's easy. Call, fax, or give us your payroll information securely online, and we take care of the rest. We calculate the correct taxes, manage payments and direct deposits. We even send out your checks. Payroll doesn't need to be a 4-letter word anymore. We're so sure that we can save you time and money that we'll give you a month's payroll free. Just for calling 877-663-3830. Get 1 month's payroll for free. Call Paychex right now. 877-663-3830. That's 877-663-3830.
Do you use the blue pill to charge your sex life? Have you been thinking about trying the blue pill? What if we can promise you the same results for less than $3 a pill? If you're paying $20 a pill for the other pills, you're getting taken to the cleaners. Our pill delivers the exact same results for less than $3. We'll do the math for you. You'll save more than $16 a pill for the same results. Want more? We'll give you 40 blue pills or 40 yellow pills for $99 and add 4 more pills free. You save more than $500. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to know what to do next. You need to call and get your 44 pills for just $99. Stop overpaying for the other blue pills. Call us and start saving a ton of money for the exact same results. Ordering is fast and easy with your pills delivered to your door in a non-marked package. 800-814-5188. 800-814-5188. 800-814-5188. That's 800-814-5188.
Hey, Bugsy, you hear the news about Vinny?
Yeah, it's a real shame he owed money to the IRS and they finally cut up with him.
Just like Al Capone.
If the IRS can get to Capone, imagine what they can do to little old Vinny, huh?
Poor cat, he was on top of the world, then bada boom, bada bing.
What Vinny needs now is an offer he can't refuse.
Hey, you got a tax problem? Does the IRS claim you owe them a bunch of dough? They can get you too. So call the tax relief line now and learn if you qualify to negotiate your $10,000 plus IRS tax debt for up to a 75% savings. Don't be like Al or Vinny and get busted. Make this free call now. Learn how you may be able to pay the IRS less.
Call now. 866-657-8474. 866-657-8474. 866-657-8474. 866-657-8474.
Okay, hey, we're back. You're listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. And once again, quick shout out to our newest affiliate. We're doing live right now out there at Red State Talk Radio. We're glad to have you with us, along with all of our other affiliates. 8 affiliates now, globally syndicated and nationally acclaimed, right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Visit us at theconservativesyndicate.net. Okay, let's get back here to our conversation here about comedian, I guess that's what they call him, comedian Larry Wilmore. You know, I'm finding more and more oxymorons in the liberal language every single day, and I guess calling somebody like this as a comedian would fit that definition. So anyway,
that's right up there with Josh Earnest being the White House press secretary.
Well, before I get into the actual back and forth that took place between Josh Earnest and April Ryan over at American Urban Radio Network, I just wanted to throw this hypothetical out there, and you tell me what you think, Joe, and I'm sure our audience out there in chat over at Shake and Wake, we got a full chat room again, and they'll all have their comments. The idea here is that I'm wondering if, let's say somebody like Dennis Miller had been chosen to speak. Or, like I said, maybe my good buddy or one of my favorite political satirists, Louis Black. And he stood up there and he looked at Barack Obama and he said, Barry, you really did it, cracker. You really did it. Or you really did it, honky. You really did it. And I'm wondering, since he would be appealing or speaking to Barack Obama's white half, he has the white DNA, at least half that we know of. There's arguments as to whether he's really black or not, but we won't go there. That doesn't really make any difference. The point being, I wonder if Barack Obama would have been so receptive and if the media would have been so lighthearted about it. What do you think?
Well, first, it would never happen. But secondly, they wouldn't have done. I mean, there are no registered Republicans in that group.
Oh, so yeah.
If you are anywhere near the right on the political scale, they will come out after you with not only long knives, they'll probably bring out automatic weapons. Fully automatic weapons that are illegal, but they'll still come at you with them because, that's how they are.
See, I could see a comedian doing something like perhaps Will Ferrell. Will Ferrell just did a movie called Get Hard or something like that. And it's about a white guy, a white middle-class businessman that's going to go into prison. And he's decided that he needs to act bad. So he hires Kevin Hart, who's this black guy. And you got to teach me how to be hard.
Yeah, he's got to give him some street cred.
Yeah, or the other movie, there was a movie out there, Andy Kennedy. Remember that one? Malibu's Most Wanted. Where the guy, he's the son of a politician, and he's a white guy, but everything he does is black, that kind of thing. But anyway, I just wonder what, but if somebody, let's say somebody like that, Andy Kennedy or Jim Carrey would pull something like that off. Will Ferrell might do it. They just get up there just to get the ultimate laugh. But I wonder if he would get the ultimate laugh, or if he would today be branded as a racist. Because you don't talk to Obama's white half. Who are you? You and your white privilege. You're going to talk. So I guess that would mean that Barack Obama is at least half privileged. If we're going to have this discussion about color. And a truthful, honest discussion about it, But I'm just putting that out there.
Discussion about color since Obama got into office.
Oh yeah, and that's the whole point. We the idea that we're even having these discussions here, one way or the other, and that's not to say I don't want anybody to take my words to mean that I am against the idea of having a black president. Okay, I really don't care. I'm more concerned with us not having a conservative president than I am anything else. I don't care if it's a female. I don't even care if it's a transgender Bruce Jenner type. As long as what they do when they're in office represents conservative ideals and principles, and it is put into policy that this country is run on that. You know, that everything is based on what this republic was established on. Okay, now I know that may sound a little hypocritical, but you get my point. I mean, I would concede. I wouldn't care if whoever was in the White House was transgender, if indeed they represented me as a conservative in terms of their policies. Okay, and leave the other things that don't have anything to do with the federal government, like being transgender, and leave it alone. Stay out of it, you know, that kind of thing. Leave it to the states to deal with their own gender issues and everything else. That's where I'm coming from there. So, but anyway, let me get back to this little back and forth that took place between Josh Earnest and American Urban Radio Network's April Ryan. She asked Ernst what he thought about Wilmore's use of the N-word. Ernst's response: I think the first thing that I would observe is that any comedian who signed up to follow President Obama at the White House Correspondents' Dinner is assuming one of the most difficult tasks in comedy. And just by the nature of the engagement, that's a tough job following the President of the United States. Like I said, we said Barack Obama is now the master comedian. And this guy got up after Barack Obama. And, of course, Josh Ernst just tells us, well, this is a difficult job. Obama's a tough guy to follow. No answer, no response to the question itself. Okay, notice the first answer here is typical doublespeak. Well, you know, it's a difficult job to follow Barack Obama.
Yeah, it's just like everybody's going to find it's a difficult job to follow the Conservative Syndicate when we go off the air.
Right. So, anyways, Miss April responds. But he crossed the line, meaning Larry Wilmore. Many African Americans in that room, to include civil rights leaders, black comedians, were very appalled, even members of the Republican Party. I don't know where she got it. Of course they were, okay? Black Republicans were upset. Black Democrats were upset. People felt that not just throwing it at him, he threw it at them. And also it diminished the office of the presidency, and it diminished him. Did he cross the line, she asked. Ernst said, this is not the first time that people observed on Monday after the White House Correspondents' Dinner that the comedian on Saturday night crossed the line. Again, doesn't answer the question, okay? He noted as many people like Stephen Colbert overstepped his bounds in delivering remarks, as well as Wanda Sykes. He goes on to recite, so this is not the first time we've had a conversation like this. I think it is. I think it's the first time anybody's ever used the N-word in referring to our president at a correspondent dinner. I would think so. I don't remember. You know, Wanda Sykes is a filthy-mouthed woman, but I don't remember her going there. You know, and she's black and she's gay. You know, so that is what it is. So,
covering your bases, baby.
Huh?
Just covering your bases.
Yeah. Okay. So Ryan comes back again. So does Wilmore's use of freedom of speech give presidents? So does Wilmore's use of freedom of speech give presidents the detractors fodder now to be able to call him that and call others that? So she's saying, well, if it's okay, if cross the line, but is it okay now for his detractors, his opponents now to use that phrase? And his Ernst's response is, I have no idea what impact Larry Wilmore's speech is going to have on the president's critics. And I don't think I'm going to spend much time worrying about it. Okay? Okay? Now, again, this is where I would interject my thought. What if somebody like Dennis Miller had been up there and he said something to Obama like, you know, hey, Barry, you did it, my cracker, or you did it, honky, or something like that? What would have been the response there? I imagine it would have confused most of the people in the room.
Well, yes. What if he had used the N-word? He'd be in jail.
Right. Now, Ernst goes on to say that he's confident Mr. Wilmore used that word by design to be intentionally provocative.
Well, he's getting publicity out of it.
Okay, so now I'm sitting here thinking the same thing. Well, could I then use the word to be intentionally provocative? Would it be the same thing? Would it be taken the same way?
No.
No. So anyway, she ends up the conversation this way. She goes, okay, so I want to be very clear. The president is okay with his use, meaning Larry Wilmore, and how he used the word. That the N-word, jigaboo, Negro Nation, and thug, those were all words that he used during his stand-up there.
Yeah.
Okay? And so Obama's okay with that. The N-word, jigaboo, Negro Nation, and thug. And Ernst says, I'll just restate what I said before, which is that the president expressed, what the president said is that he appreciated the spirit of Mr. Wilmore's expressions on Saturday night.
Spirit?
Okay. So that means really, I wish, I would pay to be the next correspondent comedian at the Washington Correspondent Dinner. I tell you, I would take this to the limit. I would sit there and I would use all the same words. And I would throw my own remarks out there. I'd talk about Mexicans who have piñatas in their yard and drink Corona. I would go the whole 9 yards on this.
You would do a Blazing Saddles routine,
right? And if nothing else, I'd get if nothing else, we'd see Chris Matthews, Rachel Maddow, Lawrence O'Donnell, Ed Schultz, the whole liberal lineup attacking me the next day, and I had free publicity you couldn't pay for. All right. So anyway, I'm sure that's what Larry Wilmore was doing, but you get my drift. You get my drift.
It's hypocrisy at the max.
It is. So we're going to leave it at that. We spent really kind of more time than I wanted to on it, but I wanted to drive home the point here about this idea that it's okay. The spirit of it is okay. I don't know what that means, but I guess you have to be half black at least to understand that.
I guess that's because I don't understand it.
Yeah. So anyway, we got to go to a break here. We'll be right back. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away. You can catch all our archives at theconservativesyndicate.net. The Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives.
Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification require cancellation fee, auto pay, and paperless billing and other restrictions apply. If you can't see the difference, why pay the difference? Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Only Dish brings you the best in entertainment for less than $20 a month. Cut the cable and don't get directed. Switch to Dish because at just $19.99, Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. It's so simple. The same channels cost less with Dish. So since you can't see the difference, don't pay the difference. Switch to Dish for the best deal in entertainment. Get premium movie channels free for 3 months, starting at just $19.99. Dish saves you every time you turn on the TV. Call now to save with Dish. Dial 1-800-600-1645. That's 1-800-600-1645. The same channels for less than $20 a month. Dish. Call 1-800-600-1645 for details.
Attention taxpayers! If you've received a notice from the IRS or state, do not ignore it. It's also a big mistake to try and handle your tax problem on your own. If you owe back taxes, it's a fact that the government has the power to take everything you own, including your home, business, wages, savings, and your freedom. But here's the good news. There's a special toll-free tax hotline set up especially for you. This tax hotline will tell you about new programs that are geared to help you dramatically settle, reduce, or eliminate what you owe. But you have to call now. Take down this number or put it in your cell phone. But call 866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959. When you call, you get free information on how you can reduce or eliminate back taxes, including penalties and interest. You can also be helped if you have unfiled returns, a tax lien, wage garnishment, bank levy, or if you've been entered into a payment plan but can't make the payments. Don't make the big mistake in thinking you can ignore or handle your tax problem on your own. You can stop the collection process immediately. Call this special tax hotline today for free info at 1-866-761-0959. That's 1-866-761-0959. 1-866-761-0959.
Hey, we're back. You're listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. And hey, I want to just remind everybody, this is our last segment was kind of controversial and intentionally so. Just like Larry Wilmore, I decided I wanted to be provocative.
Provocative.
And you just need to take it within the spirit of the thing, whatever that means. Okay?
Because, we're just legally present.
Yeah. So anyway, you want to share that with your friends out there, especially liberal friends. You want to have a good time this weekend. Share this archive with them, and let them, hey, you know what? We have an articulate, intelligent response to Larry Wilmore's stand-up routine at the Washington Correspondent Dinner. And I just want you to listen to this. And just watch your friends go off the wall. Okay? And just watch them go off the wall. All the cornrows will turn straight. They'll just turn straight by themselves. So anyway, it's out there. The ConservativeSyndicate.net. That's what I'm getting to. That's what I'm alluding to. In the spirit of everything, visit us at the ConservativeSyndicate.net. Okay. Now, Joe made a statement, a short statement. I don't know if you caught it. But I wanted to expound upon it a little bit, and this is another revelation. In light of the spirit of the Washington Correspondent Dinner, we found out that during the coverage of it, I'm not sure if it actually took place during the Washington Correspondent Dinner itself or shortly after it, but there is a guy out there at the Washington Free Beacon by the name of Lachlan Markey, okay? And apparently it looks like to me that the way I'm reading the article is somewhere during the Washington Correspondents' Dinner. You know how they put those little graphics across the bottom? The little, I forget what they're called. We call them ribbons in videography. And what it is, the marquee that comes across the bottom of the screen, breaking news, Obama's kids going to school or something like that.
The lower third?
Yeah. Which, by the way, is another big thing that everybody's making a big deal about. Malaya Obama is going to Harvard, but she's taking a year off before she does that. And now everybody's saying, well, that's a European thing. That's a European tradition, which proves even more that Barack Obama is a socialist European type and that kind of thing.
She must find herself.
Who cares? Who cares, Who the hell cares where Malaya Obama is going, And I'm sure if you asked her, she would say the same thing. Why are you people so worried about what I'm doing,
I'm certainly not, because that was news to me.
Yeah. Anyway, she's going to Harvard. The first child of any president to go to Harvard.
Yay for her, yay.
Yeah, okay. Another first for the Obama family.
I wonder how much I'm going to have to pay for that.
Well, yeah, maybe the Clinton Foundation is paying for it. I don't know.
Right.
Anyway, this survey came out. There was an infographic that popped across the screen. If I'm reading this in proper context, whether it did it during the Correspondent Dinner itself or not, or came on later, this graphic by Lachlan Markey. And I'm just going to read you the information that's on it. It says, not a single one of the 72 members of the White House press corps surveyed by the Virginia-based trade publication identifies with the GOP. Not a single one identifies with the GOP. It gets better. Of the journalists surveyed, more than a quarter are registered Democrats, and 13% are not members of any political party. Okay, so 13% of the journalists that are covering the White House on a daily basis are not registered with any political party. They might be Trump supporters, okay? Or maybe members of the Trump family.
Well, they can't vote.
Okay. Now, here's one that'll get you. 60% are not registered to vote. 60% of our journalists that are covering politics are not registered to vote. But 72% of them, see this, now we're getting into Hillary Clinton demographics, okay, and statistics.
Yeah.
72% of those polls said they think reporters should vote in the elections they cover. 60% are not registered, but 72% think that they should be. Okay? I guess that's 72% of the 60%? Because that number doesn't match.
And you hear the reason why most of them say they won't vote in the election, because they want to be unbiased about their stuff. They don't want someone saying, well, you reported on it this way, so you're obviously voting in a certain direction, so I'm not going to vote now.
Yeah. Oh, well,
because I want to have my integrity.
Yeah. Okay. And it's like the media out there yesterday. I saw an article out there. I think it was Think Progress or somebody like that, bashing Sean Hannity because they believe that he's too biased in his coverage. And I'm thinking,
speech.
Okay, well, what's the big deal here? It's not like, and Hannity actually responded to it, and he said, yes, I am. He said, yes, I am. And he goes, 1, I'm not a reporter. I'm a talk show host. 2, I'm a Republican, so I want the Republicans to win. Duh. Okay? Nobody asked that of Chris Matthews. Nobody asked that of Wolf Blitzer or any of the other ones, which, by the way, CNN. Remember, CNN is upset, too. I saw an article on them. They're upset at Barack Obama's shot at Jake Tapper. When you remember I mentioned it yesterday? He said,
Yes.
yeah, Jake Tapper left journalism to join CNN. CNN was not happy about that. Not that it means anything, but I just thought you might want to know that. Anyway, 60% are not registered to vote. 72% of those say that reporters should vote in the elections they cover. Now, here it comes down to the numbers here. 12 survey respondents said they plan to vote for the Democratic frontrunner Hillary Clinton.
No way.
3 said they support her rival Bernie Sanders. 2 plan to vote for Cruz. I wonder, I'm sure they'll do that. That's what's called a secret ballot, okay? No one will know who they are. And 1 supports Republican frontrunner Donald Trump. Almost 90% of them said they think Clinton will be the next president. Now, this is a question I want to pose, and we may not answer it right at this initial segment here because it's kind of long. And I'm going to give it to Joe because Joe brought this up so well yesterday during our conversation. The question of the day is, who does the establishment hate more, Donald Trump or Ted Cruz? Because Joe brought up this idea here yesterday. The media gives Trump all this coverage for the purpose of bashing him, but they give Ted Cruz no coverage. And so there's got to be something going on there. So there's the question. Who does the establishment hate? Well, we know who the establishment hates. I'm sorry. Who does the media hate more than Donald Trump? Who does the media hate more, Donald Trump or Ted Cruz? It's yours, Joe, for about 3 minutes, and we'll finish it up at the beginning of the next segment.
I tell you right now, they would hate Ted Cruz because they're going to love to see the Donald Trump Hillary Clinton debates, and they're going to love it for the same reason they're giving him any publicity now. They're going to give him the same it's all about ratings. It's just ratings whores is all they are, and they just want to rake in advertising dollars, and that's what they're going to do. Now, who they really hate, and as I said, like the establishment, they hate the American voter, the average American voter who's out there at this time supporting either Trump or Cruz. They hate those voters immensely. They hate those people.
So your contention is that the media would hate Cruz more because Cruz would be a more viable opponent to Hillary Clinton?
I just think it would be a different dynamic than what Trump will bring to these debates, because we already know what Trump's going to bring to these debates because of what Trump is doing behind the scenes now.
Yeah, I agree. I think the idea here is they want a Trump-Clinton face-off because this is just going to be mudslinging. This will be something the media can relate to so easily because they won't have to worry about facts. They won't have to worry about policy. They won't have to worry about agenda. Everything's going to be about your wife is uglier than mine, or in the case of Hillary, your husband's uglier than my wife, and which one watches the most porn? You know, that kind of stuff. It'll be along that line. It'll be along that line.
Better trained than your dog.
Yeah. It'll be nothing about politics other than it's just going to be mudslinging. It's going to be name calling. It's going to be accusations about what they do in their private lives. It's going to run the full gambit here, and the American public is going to get eaten up by it and get caught up. It's going to be better than watching the Kardashians. And that's where this thing is going to go. We got to go to a break here. We're at the top of the hour here. Time for the Edwards Notebook. Pay a couple bills. We'll be back next hour. Don Dix from Act for America will be doing his weekly contribution with us. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go.
The more I know, the more I learn. There's so much more to find out. Hello, I'm Ron Edwards. On today's page from the Edwards Notebook, for many years, I have defended the Republican Party. One of my best friends told me that there was no real difference between the GOP and the Democrat Party of the Golden Donkey. Of course, I never forgot the first time years ago when I read a quote by American humorist Will Rogers, who said there wasn't a dime's bit of difference between the Democrat and Republican parties. I must say that at one time there was a big difference, but maybe not so much anymore. We all know that for decades, Democrats supported policies that go against governing from the standpoint of, by, and for the people. Now, the Republican establishment and so-called conservative Ted Cruz have banded together to change election rules in some states to take away the vote from we the people. Why? Because wherever primary elections have occurred, Donald Trump has won. His campaign has exposed many of the political rats like those who support illegal immigration into America. Thus, many globalist Republicans like Bill Kristol would prefer Hillary Clinton, also a globalist, over non-globalist Donald Trump, who says that he simply wants to make America great again. And it seems the two are at least becoming one. What a shame. I'm Ron Edwards.
Catch all our archives at theconservativesyndicate.net. The Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-790-5960. That's 1-800-790-5960. Again, 1-800-790-5960. Call now.
Prices are for base buildings only. May not be available in some areas. Attention business owners, do you want a stimulus package that really works? Before you spend thousands of dollars more than you should on your next building project, listen to this. General Steel has a stimulus package designed to help you save as much as half the cost of conventional construction on your next building. As much as half. That's right. General Steel can save you thousands of dollars with a pre-engineered steel building designed for your business or church. How about a 50 by 100 foot building for under $30,000? So don't pay thousands more than you should without calling General Steel first and save as much as half the cost and time of conventional construction. With the projected demand for steel in Japan and China, prices may be skyrocketing.
877-927-3360. 877-927-3360. 877-927-3360.
Folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardosa. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardosa Live, daily, Monday through Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you'll get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decision concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosalive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosalive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Hey, all you can do is just tell the truth and trust in the American people that over time they're going to know what the truth is.
Yes, it is time for the truth. Right here, right now. This is the Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives. With your host, John Matthews.
It's a latter-day prophet. Baying against the hypocrisies of our time.
And Joe Hakos.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
The Conservative Syndicate is comprised of some of the most informed pundits and activists available today. Together, we seek to tear down the imaginary wall of separation between church and state through education, information, and engagement on the religion of politics and the politics of religion. And now, your host on the globally syndicated Conservative Syndicate, John Matthews and Joe Hakos.
Hey, and we're back, and you are listening to the Conservative Syndicate, Real Conservative Talk from Real Conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hakos, my co-host and partner in crime. And I want to, just a loose end here on this whole conversation that we've been having here. And Joe just brought this up. I have to admit ignorance here. I wasn't aware of this, but the Indiana primary is an open primary. Is that what you're saying, Joe?
Yeah, it's an open primary, which means once you're registered somehow, you're allowed to vote in the primary. So if you're a Democrat, you can vote for Trump. If you're a Republican, you can vote for, well, I don't know, any Democrat like Trump. Or, it's just an open primary, which it's like a free-for-all.
Yeah, that would, in my opinion, then that would kind of skew things more towards the Trump scenario. An open primary.
Definitely skew the polls. I mean, all the polls I've been watching, they never said how many people were asked anything in the poll. They just said that likely Republicans or future communists, Cuban communists, or whatever it is, the segment of people but they never said how many of those people they were talking to. Was it 30 or was it 300? Was it 3,000? None of that. So, and then in an open primary, it's like I said, it's a free for all, and it can skew all kind of numbers. You could have a bunch of Democrats trying to vote for Trump to get him over the top. So we can have our glorious Trump-Clinton debate.
Yeah. Well, I think I do believe, though, you did make a good point here earlier about the idea that what we'll probably see is we're going to start seeing, as soon as the polls close, 10 minutes after they close, we're going to start seeing people out there trying to make predictions as to what's going on here.
Yeah, it'd be nice if they just put a light up in the church tower, one if by land, two if by sea. Maybe we'll know then.
Yeah.
Well, that was a little historical thing, and I don't know. Many people don't get history anymore.
Yeah. So, well, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Now, this is our short segment here, so let me ask you this, Joe, because we haven't really discussed this.
Okay.
If Trump does win today, is it over?
Yeah, it's pretty much over, yeah. It still will come down to California. He needs to get 40-some% of the remaining. I think there's only like 400-some delegates remaining available out of all the primaries and caucuses and whatever. So he only needs a couple of hundred. So he really needs, he doesn't even need 50%. He only needs like 40% of the remaining delegates to get to the magic number, 1237.
Yeah. Well, see, that's what I'm looking at here. If he does take Indiana and he takes a hunk of these things, they're proportional, okay? He does take a hunk of these delegates.
No, it's a winner take all.
Oh, it's a winner take all. Okay, so if he hits a 50% plus one,
he'll get 57 delegates, baby.
Okay, so 57 delegates, and we're going to assume that will probably, with the remaining states leading up to California, he's going to take probably a hunk of those too. So the numbers I'm seeing out here in some of these other states out here in the Northwest, Washington, Oregon, stuff like that. I mean, they're all potheads up there anyway.
Well, just remember that Trump decided to do that masterful political move and say, hey, I'm not going to go to New Mexico or Oregon. We're going to let Kasich have that state. That was just some brainiac stuff there.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be. See, I know the Cruz is going to try to play this out to the end because California is a slate. Let's remember that. And Cruz is just very successful at going down into Arizona and getting all the delegates down there that were given to Donald Trump during the primary. Yeah. And that means that those delegates only have to vote for Trump in the first round. After that, they're freed up, and those slates can go after Cruz, and he took all 28 of them. He's got all 28 of the delegates saying, we'll go for you in the second round.
In California?
No, in Arizona.
Oh, in Arizona. Okay, yeah, okay.
So that's what Cruz's strategy is going to be in California. He's going to try to do the same thing. He's going to try.
He might start to look for an honorable way out if he doesn't win tonight.
Yeah. So it remains to be seen how this. I think, but for me, for all intents and purposes, I think it's going to be pretty much over. And I think that Trump will probably reach the number that he needs to reach. And again, if he wins the 50% plus one today, he will have obtained the goal of 8 or more states at 50%. So that will no longer factor in. So the only thing that remains is him accumulating the 1237 and then watching to see if the establishment sabotages the whole thing for the purpose of getting Hillary in there so that they can keep their jobs. You know, they can keep what they want.
1237, then he's going to be the nominee. So that's just all there is to it.
Yeah. So, it remains to be seen here. Anyway, we got to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to try to get Don Dix. He was on with us just a few moments ago, but I don't know where he's at. I was picking up all kinds of noise.
He was in a hurricane.
Yeah. Well, I hope not, because I'm only a few moments away from him. So we'll be right back, guys. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away. Today on Moments of Madness. Donald Trump's current claims after his loss in the Colorado caucus that the establishment has rigged the primary against him is nothing more than political theater to keep his sheep enraged, the media entranced, and his opposition neutralized. Trump and his campaign people knew the rules, or should have known them. These rules Colorado has employed to pick their nominee have been around since 1912. So the idea they were designed to keep him from obtaining the required 1,237 delegates is as absurd as his candidacy itself. The fact there are those in Colorado now claiming disenfranchisement only exemplifies the Gruber theorem. The stupidity of the American voter is in full effect. That said, what does bear noting, what continually upsets the GOP political establishment is not Trump's audacious personality, his confrontational demeanor, or his lack of political understanding of policy outside the concept of deal-making. They have shown a propensity for working around ineptness for at least 5 decades now. What upsets the establishment is the fact Trump is an establishment type who has decided to double-cross his, up to this point, pretty much out-of-sight co-conspirators. The fervor that now runs as rampant through the GOP establishment as a streaker at the Super Bowl reminds me of the second adaptation of the movie The Manchurian Candidate, released in 2004, starring Liev Schreiber as former Sergeant and now Congressman Raymond Shaw, Denzel Washington as Major Bennett Marco, Shaw's former commanding officer, and Meryl Streep as Congressman Shaw's mother, Senator Eleanor Iselin. The 2004 film updated the conflict and brainwashing to the Persian Gulf War in 1991, emphasized the science fiction aspects of the story by setting the action in a dystopian near future, coincidentally implied to be 2008, had a U.S. corporation called Manchurian Global as a perpetrator of the brainwashing and conspiracy instead of foreign communist groups, and dropped the Johnny Insulin character in favor of making both Shaw and his mother elected politicians. What I am reminded of when analyzing the current establishment reaction to Trump, and even Cruz to some degree, is an almost eerie portrayal of Shaw's mother, Eleanor, as an establishment type, willing to sacrifice her own son as a means to an end in the plot to have her own son become president by placing him on a ticket as VP, only to have the newly elected president assassinated on the night he wins the election, thus placing him in the White House, complete with a brain implant that causes him to do whatever his programmers want. I'm not saying Trump is a Manchurian candidate by any stretch. If he is, somebody certainly crossed their wires. I do, however, contend Trump is actually an establishment type that has decided to double-cross those with whom he once conspired, in this case the GOP establishment. In much the same manner, Congressman Shaw programmed his own assassination in lieu of the president-elect to put to an end the conspiracy to take over the government via a coup when he discovers he's being played as a pawn. It remains to be seen if Trump actually makes it all the way to the White House. I can't help but wonder if he does, who among the elites will be the one called to duty to take him out? Who knows? But then again, with all this going on, both sides of this contest, we might discover Uncle Bernie is really the Manchurian candidate. This is John Matthews for Moments of Madness. Okay, hey, we're back, and I am your host, John Matthews. You're listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. We have with us right now Don Dix doing his weekly contribution with us here from Act for America. How are you doing tonight, Don?
I'm doing fine, John. Are you picking me up?
Pretty good, pretty good. You can dial your volume down there just a tad.
I will see what I can do.
Yeah, you're coming in like you're talking through a can.
I am, huh?
Oh, there you are. There, yeah. I don't know. There's something about your phone that whenever we first hook up with you, it just goes gaga, and then it just kind of fixes itself. I don't know what it is. Anyway, how are you doing today?
Well, I'm doing fine. I guess my phone's excited about being with you.
As it should be.
Well, then we know it's not an Obama phone.
Oh.
No. This cost a little more than Obama phone, I think.
Well, anyway, I wanted to get your take on this. I know you're over there at 590 AM, The Answer out there in Inland Valley, and I'm sure you guys have been talking about the Indiana primary off and on. Oh, first of all, I wanted to get your take on the what was it last week? You were covering the convention, right?
Well, I was supposed to go to the RNC convention, but we had a live remote at the Chino Air Show, which was an amazing experience. Connected with a lot of plane owners who, by the way, are very wealthy people and very concerned about the future of our country. But Thursday night, I was at the Trump rally in Costa Mesa, which in and of itself was its own interesting experience. Kind of the same thing unfolded at that Trump rally in Costa Mesa as what happened up in Burlingame at the the California Republican Party convention.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the things we talked about yesterday was almost the non-existence of the media in covering this because it was violence that was coming from the left.
Oh, boy, you couldn't. I just put a Facebook post up today about this. You couldn't have hit a bigger hot button for me than that. You know, if you recall back when you had that Trump supporter that decked that Trump protester walking up the aisle, hit him with his elbow, and we saw that video run nonstop for the next day and a half as they were covering, what unfolds at Trump rallies. But Did you see anything about the car in Costa Mesa that was doing donuts? Did you see anything about the Trump supporters who were stuck in the riot? And it was interesting because CBS did a after action report on the blogger from Mission Viejo who had gotten decked and needed 6 stitches on his forehead. But they actually had the audacity to call it a melee. No, this was a full-on riot, and the police should have known this was going to happen. They had plenty of notice that the Trump protesters were gathering en masse. They were angry. They were agitated. They were coordinated. And, I mean, I'm not even in the police department, and I could see what was getting ready to happen. They lost complete control of it. You had Trump supporters that were stuck in this riot whose cars were getting spray painted, written on with magic markers. I can't even imagine what it would have been like to have been stuck in a car in the middle of all that. Mm-hmm. And as you pointed out, did you see any coverage of that? No.
And we spent a little bit of time talking about this yesterday, and especially as it moved up north, the same thing was occurring actually on a bigger scale. Officers were injured and everything else, and we've heard so little about it. And it brings to the forefront this idea of, I guess, when the left is responsible for the violence. Let's put it in context. Let's look at it this way: had this been a Black Lives Matter thing, and now they're the ones that are organizing all this violence at these rallies. But let's say it had been it was a Hillary Clinton rally, okay, or a Bernie Sanders rally. And Trumpsters showed up there. People showed up in mass, and Trump and just stood outside with signs. Let's just say that, and that led to some kind of confrontation or whatever. The media would be on that like white on rice. They'd be out there. Here's the Trumpsters out here causing all hate and discontent. They're racist. They want a race war. Blah blah blah. And it was so minimal, the coverage. I saw 3 articles here, local. I mean, we were watching the local news, just 3 articles on it, 4 to 5 paragraphs as to and a picture of the one Trump supporter with a bloody nose. And we didn't even we really couldn't find any substantial media coverage on this until late afternoon yesterday. Breitbart put something out about it, and that was our main reference piece. So what does this tell you? What does this tell you about this whole idea that when the left does something, I see the resurrection of the Black Panther Party and the Weather Underground and all this. That's what I see.
Well, what it tells me is that what we're up against in terms of this radical left movement is a coordinated anarchist response, anti-American response to literally everything that is American. What it tells me is that we are being given absolutely no understanding of what we're facing. Lee Stranahan you mentioned Breitbart. Lee Stranahan with Breitbart is probably doing some of the best deconstruction of what this is all about on Breitbart. He spends 16 hours a day studying what the nexus between the Black Lives Matter movement, the unions, the La Raza, La Mancha, there's a couple of others that I forget what they are. They're all behind this Aztlan movement to reestablish a Mexican government here in the Pacific Southwest. What this should tell us is that there's a very aggressive movement in this country, and it seems like they're taking it out on Donald Trump, but they'd be taking it out on Ted Cruz if he was the front runner. This is this is nothing short of, and the thing when you go into these crowds, by the way, guys. These crowds are composed of, I'm referring to Costa Mesa and Burlingame, of 18, in some cases younger, to 22-year-old Mexicans, people of Hispanic descent, and they are angry, they are agitated, there is absolutely no reasoning with them. The blogger whose head got cut was simply trying to go into the group and find out, what's important to them. When we were standing outside the Trump event, we thought about the idea of moving towards where the police lights were, but first of all, we couldn't because at that point, the sheriff's department had gained control of the perimeter of the situation. They weren't letting anybody back in. There was a group that started out as 50 and grew to 150 as the main riot was being displaced, and these people were leaving and then congregating on surrounding street corners. And there's absolutely no going into them to reason at all with them. That's beyond the point. That's not even a possibility.
Yeah.
But they're so angry and animated, and it's all they're taking it out on Trump. I mean, they were aggressive, they were vulgar, they were disrespectful. And by the way, I'm okay with people waving Mexican flags in Mexico. This is America, and the idea that these people bring with them their, Mexico as a country is nothing to want to emulate. So the idea that they want to bring that up here, on the face of it, if you like what's going on in Mexico, go back to Mexico.
Yeah, I thought one of the most talked about memes, and like I said, we didn't get a lot of coverage. We haven't had a lot of talk about this, but one of the memes that I've seen floated out there the most is a picture of the 8-year-old Hispanic kid with a sign that says "Make America Mexico Again," and right. I'm just like, dude, you guys lost the war, for crying out loud, and we gave you half your country back. I mean, what's this all about? This the whole idea that you think that you have the right to be here for some reason. I mean, that's where it's heading here. It's just the whole idea of we have the right to be here. You guys are the ones that shouldn't be here. That kind of thing. I mean, I understand that down in casino territory. That's been the mantra of Native Americans, and probably justifiably so to some degree. But this whole idea of let me ask you this question. Instead of just ranting here, let me ask you this question. How much of this whole thing, and it's not really about Trump as it is about the demographics of creating this voting bloc that Barack Obama wants and has tried to execute through executive order. Can we lay the blame for something like this totally at the feet of Barack Obama, or are there other people involved?
No, we cannot lay the blame on Barack Obama, and to do so is a disservice to the real problem. Barack Obama is a symptom of the problem. He is not the problem. The problem is what I refer to as the axis of indoctrination. That is a combination of the school systems, the universities, the media, and the lower levels of government that are all involved in this narrative that is tamping down true American history and taking certain narratives like America was a slave nation. Our wealth grew out of slavery. Taking the re-educating kids, because when you look at what's happening, and here's a good example of what we're reaching for here in terms of trying to describe the problem. Back in this year, January to February, there was an open opportunity for people of California to comment on the history framework used by the Department of Education to instruct history textbook manufacturers and publishers as to how to write their textbooks to fit within the framework of what the Department of Education wants to teach kids about history. Because remember, history has not been pulled in yet under the umbrella of Common Core. So states are still able to dictate both the curriculum as well as the testing standards for history. So during that period, we actually assembled a group of nationwide history experts to analyze what the history was that our kids are about to get taught. Everything literally from the theory behind our founding fathers, the Constitution, even the reasons for the Civil War have all been ripped out of history. And this post-construction idea of the history narrative from the 50s on is what's now being inserted into our history. You can't expect people who immigrate to this country, speaking of young Mexican children, who are going to be exposed to that sort of Howard Zinn version of history that's taught in colleges, to respect America when they're not even taught what America is all about. So the problem is not Barack Obama. The problem is what we're teaching kids in elementary school, what they're learning in a university system that's comprised 95% of professors that lean communist, Marxists, and socialists. Even the professors that are conservatives say they've got to walk around university campuses with their heads down. Conservative students can't wear crosses and reveal their own religion or express it in what the assignments are that they get in these political science and sociology. And even some of your science classes where this indoctrination is inserted, they can't express themselves for fear of being downgraded, literally, in their grades as well as denigrated in front of their fellow students. This is where the problem is. And when you come out of these university and education systems with a worldview that does not honor what America is all about, you're going to get what happens in Costa Mesa. You're going to get what happens in Burlingame. And even talking to the press pool, when I was at the Costa Mesa Donald Trump rally Thursday evening, they said almost to a person that what happened in Chicago was barely even covered accurately by the media. Mm-hmm. You had people stuck in these parking structures, their cars being attacked, them being attacked by these Donald Trump protesters. So it was even alive back then, and it wasn't accurately being covered. So this goes way beyond Barack Obama. He is just laying the groundwork now for what I call the final chapter of the capitulation of what makes America great.
Well, I think I totally agree with that. And I think one of the aspects that's not being covered, and I'm surprised it's not being covered because it would work to Hillary Clinton's advantage, is that most of these organized protesters are organized rioters, and that's what they are. This is coming out of the Bernie Sanders camp. And I remember listening to Bill Ayers after the Chicago incident. Bill Ayers was asked. He came on, I believe it was CNN or Fox. I'm not sure where he was at. I don't remember, but I think he was actually in an interview with Megyn Kelly. I think Megyn Kelly got Bill Ayers in a program, and he said his words were, "Yeah, we accomplished what we wanted in Chicago." Now, Bill Ayers was the head of the Weather Underground and the violent overthrow of the government, and the Black Lives Matter are endorsing Bernie Sanders. So it seems like there's something else, and if all this ties back to Obama, then what we're seeing here is something that Obama laid the groundwork for, but the institutions and everything else that you just mentioned, along with political organizations, have orchestrated this. This is the time for, in the words of Bernie Sanders, political revolution. So,
well, yeah, it's funny you mentioned Bernie Sanders, because in between the F Donald Trump chants that these protesters are saying, they were actively yelling. They were yelling Bernie, Bernie. So they were feeling the burn for sure.
Yeah. We got to interrupt here. We're at the bottom of the hour here. We got to take our break. We're speaking with Don Dix, and I'm your host, John Matthews, along with Joe Hickos from Dryer Report, and we'll be back. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go.
Hey, I'll make you a deal. Give me 60 seconds and I'll give you directions to the Fountain of Youth. Okay, I'm joking. Well, kind of joking. No fountains, but youth, I got. Nature's Youth and their premier anti-aging product, Nature's Youth RSF. With your sensible diet and exercise plan, Nature's Youth RSF can help you look and feel better. RSF is an all-natural amino acid supplement that supports your body to naturally increase HGH levels without any synthetic hormones. And elevated HGH levels can contribute to increased energy, improved libido, reduced body fat, and improved exercise capacity. Let's be honest. Who doesn't want to look and feel younger? Visit the newly designed website at naturesyouth.com or call 800-333-6923. That's 800-333-6923, and like them on Facebook and you'll be included in contest and exclusive offers. What a deal. Oh, speaking of deals, my time's about up. 800-333-6923 or naturesyouth.com. Who needs a fountain anyway? Call today.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
When I had a heart attack at 42, I was not sure what the future held. But a year later, the doctors could find nothing wrong with me and took me off all my medication. What did I do? I took a herbal mixture of garlic, cayenne, and a few other herbs mixed in liquid form. I now call this Extendovite. I would have never believed that a few simple herbs could actually change my life like they did. Now it's your turn to see what the powers of garlic and cayenne can do for you. For only $69.95 plus shipping and handling for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid, you too can begin on your path to better health. For more information, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website at heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
I've owned my company for 14 years now, and I can tell you that payroll is a 4-letter word. I hate doing it. It eats up hours I don't have, and it costs me money I could be saving. But my accountant's too expensive, and I'm not sure who to call, but I know I need help.
We're Paychex, and we take all the hassles out of small business payroll. We save you time and money. It's easy. Call, fax, or give us your payroll information securely online, and we take care of the rest. We calculate the correct taxes, manage payments and direct deposits. We even send out your checks. Payroll doesn't need to be a 4-letter word anymore. We're so sure that we can save you time and money that we'll give you a month's payroll free. Just for calling 877-663-3830. Get 1 month's payroll for free. Call Paychex right now. 877-663-3830. That's 877-663-3830.
Do you use the blue pill to charge your sex life? Have you been thinking about trying the blue pill? What if we can promise you the same results for less than $3 a pill? If you're paying $20 a pill for the other pills, you're getting taken to the cleaners. Our pill delivers the exact same results for less than $3. We'll do the math for you. You'll save more than $16 a pill for the same results. Want more? We'll give you 40 blue pills or 40 yellow pills for $99 and add 4 more pills free. You save more than $500 $3. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to know what to do next. You need to call and get your 44 pills for just $99. Stop overpaying for the other blue pills. Call us and start saving a ton of money for the exact same results. Ordering is fast and easy with your pills delivered to your door in a non-marked package. 800-814-5188. 800-814-5188. 800-814-5188. That's 800-814-5188.
Hey, Bugsy, you hear the news about Vinny?
Yeah, it's a real shame he owed money to the IRS and they finally cut up with him.
Just like Al Capone.
If the IRS can get to Capone, imagine what they can do to little old Vinny, huh?
Poor cat, he was on top of the world, then bada boom, bada bing.
What Vinny needs now is an offer he can't refuse.
Hey, you got a tax problem? Does the IRS claim you owe them a bunch of dough? They can get you too. So call the tax relief line now and learn if you qualify to negotiate your $10,000 plus IRS tax debt for up to a 75% savings. Don't be like Al or Vinny and get busted. Make this free call now. Learn how you may be able to pay the IRS less.
Call now. 866-657-8474. 866-657-8474. 866-657-8474. 866-657-8474.
We're back, and you're listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. And once again, just remind you, visit our website, theconservativesyndicate.net, and pick up this archive, any of our archives. And like I said, based on what we did the first hour, you want to drive a liberal crazy? Give them a copy of this archive. Just play the first hour. Just play the first 20 minutes. And watch, like I said, watch all those cornrows just straighten out like you know what. Anyway, we've got Don Dix with us from Act for America, and we were talking about the violence that was taking place and not being reported. I would have thought the media would have been all over this because they love violence. That is their bread and butter, their gravy. They have video of people getting beat the hell out of them, and blood and broken glass and all the other things that go on at things like this. And I wanted to ask you, Don, because Joe mentioned it while we were sitting here at break, the idea that this is just a preview of coming attractions. What do you think the Cleveland convention is going to be like, especially if they go into the convention with Trump having enough delegates, and if he wins Indiana today, having the 8 states at 51% or more, the establishment cannot deny him the nomination.
Yeah, no, it's going to be ugly, guys. By the way, as we're speaking, Clinton and Sanders are locked in a dead 50% to 50% tie in Indiana. Who would have thought that a socialist would be able to give the Clinton dynasty a run for their money? This has got to be humbling for Hillary Clinton.
She doesn't care. They're going to give it to her.
Yeah. She's got. I was looking at numbers this morning. She's only like 300 delegates shy of getting the required number to get the nomination. I'm not so sure that at this point she really cares. It's more like face talk. It's like she's out there doing it. Like we were talking earlier about her being in West Virginia, and she'd been talking 2 weeks ago about just completely destroying the coal industry. And now she's out there with the West Virginia people because that's what their bread and butter out there. And she said, well, that's not really what I meant. I didn't mean destroy.
Right.
That kind of thing.
No, I saw an interview with her, speaking to a couple of coal miners, and she was having to eat some major humble pie in front of this guy who was saying, what you're doing in Virginia is taking food off of our table. And yeah, she had to walk back because the media was just there hovering over this interview as this coal miner. He works in the coal mines. He actually does work on the equipment in coal mines as he's showing Hillary Clinton a picture of his family and saying, I don't have a job anymore because of what you're talking about.
Right.
And yeah, it's ugly out there. I think as far as the policies that are being advanced by Clinton and Sanders both relating to climate.
Yeah. Well, at least we'll have something interesting to watch tonight. Yeah, after the 10% of precincts that come in, and Fox News calls this for Trump. And
right. Yeah. The headline was 2 voters counted in Indiana. Fox calls the election for Trump.
It's over.
But let's take it just a little bit further here. The idea here of Cleveland, the Cleveland convention is going to be, I think it's going to make the Chicago convention of 1968 look like a revival before this whole thing's over. But then we move on to the general election, and I see a lot of I don't see the general election sizing up to be anything about policy. I think this is going to be mudslinging persona just to the max. It's going to be about people's families. It's going to be about their kids. It's going to be about their donors. It's going to be who's the crookedest, who's the most corrupt. I think we're going to get very little done in terms of what policy is, and I think Trump is banking on that. I think he's going to go after Hillary on the agenda card, just like she's going to come after him as a homophobic, racist bigot, that kind of thing. And so,
it's going to be a cage match.
Yeah, and it's going to be which one is able to use evil to the best of their advantage.
Well, the American people, I believe here, the analogy I use to explain Trump right now is that the American people, and you can see this by the exit polls from Indiana, they're angry, they're frustrated, they're upset, they're working harder than they've ever worked before for less. They're getting less results for what they do work. More and more American people, citizens in this country, are on the public dole. They have learned that they can vote themselves not just a pay raise, but I was going to say not just secure their government dole, but a pay raise, at the voting booth. So this is going to be a cage match for the heart and soul of the republic. And the reason why I think Donald Trump is resonating with so many people is that people want a club. They want somebody who is a bully, who is a brawler, to be able to beat Washington over the head with. Whether it serves them or not, whether it works or not, they're to the point to where they just want to annihilate the system. And if Donald Trump, with his populism and his, the guy, he calls Ted Cruz a liar, but when you really analyze what he says and against what he said before, the real liar is Donald Trump. It was funny, Thursday night when we were at the Trump rally, the journalists there were trying to figure out how many people the Pacific Amphitheater seated, and then add to that what the crowd estimate was outside that wasn't able to get in.
Yeah.
And the facility seats 8,600, and they were estimating there was probably another 2 or 3, maybe 4,000 people outside that couldn't get in. Donald Trump said, and he said it also on the Sunday news talks, and he said it in other interviews, that there were 31,000 that night. He said there were 31,000 people in Costa Mesa. Now, I don't know where he got that number, but it bore no semblance to anything reasonable to reality. So when it comes to who the real liar is, technically, anybody out there that is supporting Donald Trump isn't going to like to hear this, but Donald Trump is the liar. Now, that's not overpowered by the fact that he's a bully, and that's what the American people want right now.
I don't think Costa Mesa has a population of 31,000 people.
Oh, that may be the better point, but obviously there were people drawn from all over. So I went from the Inland Empire, so there were people from all over Southern California. But the mix in the crowd was, working class people. It was a large chunk, more than I expected, were made up of people of color. You had Black Christian women wearing T-shirts saying "Black Christian Women for Trump." Wow. You had Asian people saying Chinese Americans for Trump. You had Hispanic people holding up signs, "This Hispanic is for Donald Trump." So it was a very mixed crowd.
No, but but even that shows the division that's been sowed into the country, where we're still playing this, or even more so, playing this hyphenated game. You know, that everything is divided down into demographics. Of course, I'm sure these people are responding because the media is out there saying the only people voting for Trump are the angry white men. You know, that kind of thing. But it does still point to the fact that division is the strategy that is the most effective right now. And I think a lot of it has to do with, you mentioned the school system, the social engineering that takes place in public education arena. I look at it as the overall general stupidity of the American voter, of not really even caring about what these people stand for. That's why I think the general election will turn into a mudslinging contest, because I don't really think the average American really cares that much about what's going on in terms of foreign policy or anything else. They break everything down into simple sitcom sound bites. We want ISIS killed, and we want our jobs back.
And we want a wall, and we want to hurt China. And, the bottom line is the facts and the truth are optional across the board.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. If you're the one screaming the loudest, build a wall, then that's what everybody's listening to. It's not how's the wall going to be built, who's going to pay for it, or anything. Well, the Mexicans are going to pay for it. Okay, how is that going to happen? Oh, yeah, no, we'll withhold debt that they already owe us. I'm like, how do you figure that? I don't know. But the point being is that it's not about this particular election cycle is not about issues. It is about anger, as you said. And the anger erases everything else. It trumps everything else, if I can use that word.
Sure.
And so what we're going to end up with, who knows what this is going to look like. And the only people that are going to be happy about it are the establishment types. Okay, so we got to go to a break. When we come back, we'll continue with Don Dix from Act for America. Stay with us right here at the Conservative Syndicate. Don't go away.
You can catch all our archives at theconservativesyndicate.net. The Conservative Syndicate. Real conservative talk from real conservatives.
Prices are for base buildings only. May not be available in some areas. Attention business owners, do you want a stimulus package that really works? Before you spend thousands of dollars more than you should on your next building project, listen to this. General Steel has a stimulus package designed to help you save as much as half the cost of conventional construction on your next building. As much as half. That's right, General Steel can save you thousands of dollars with a pre-engineered steel building designed for your business or church. How about a 50 by 100 foot building for under $30,000? So don't pay thousands more than you should without calling General Steel first, and save as much as half the cost and time of conventional construction. With the projected demand for steel in Japan and China, prices may be skyrocketing.
877-927-3360. 877-927-3360. 877-927-3360.
Hey folks, if you're like me, you don't place a whole lot of trust in today's media for the real truth and facts regarding the volatile world of finance and politics. When I want the real scoop on money, I go to the most trusted source I know, my good friend and colleague, Bob Cardosa. Bob is a noted expert with a PhD in international finance who airs his nationally known, globally syndicated show, Robert Cardosa Live, daily, Monday through Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. With Bob, you'll get the right information at the right time from someone who knows his business and can help you make the right decision concerning yours. Again, Bob airs daily, Monday through Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit his website at robertcardosalive.com for information regarding stations and topics. That's robertcardosalive.com. Check Bob out. You'll be glad you did.
Okay, hey, we're back. You're listening to the Conservative Syndicate, real conservative talk from real conservatives. I'm your host, John Matthews, mad prophet of the airways, along with my good buddy, co-host Joe Hakos, and Don Dix from Act for America. And, you know, we were just talking about how quick they were going to call this election for Trump. I misquoted here in the chat room here. Not Yahoo, but Associated Press is already out there telling everybody that Trump has won the election based on exit polls. Okay, he's taking 6 out of 10 or 7 out of 10 on the exit polls. So they're already now talking about how he's already wiped the floor with Ted Cruz, and now it's onward and upward toward California.
On to West Virginia.
Yeah, it's a big deal. This everybody was saying that Cruz needed this to stay alive, and if Trump goes into the convention with anything close, and by close I'm thinking like within at least 50 delegates of the 1237, I don't see how they do anything but work this to Donald Trump's. For Donald Trump being the presumptive candidate. And you know who's been real quiet is Marco Rubio has been real quiet. And, he's still got more delegates than John Kasich, even though he left the race, a month and a half ago. Mm-hmm. So those delegates could be an interesting pawn in the convention. I have no idea what the inside baseball is going to look like, but you've got Kasich with his delegates. You've got Rubio with his. It's anybody's guess as to how quickly it happens if Donald Trump doesn't have the 1237, but we'll see. Hey guys, there's one thing I just wanted to do real quick outside of the election coverage. It was a very sad day for America. Devastating news out of Iraq. A Navy SEAL was killed by direct fire about 2 to 3 miles behind a Peshmerga forward line after ISIS fighters breached the position, conducting this large-scale attack with truck bombs and small arms. So, I just wanted to throw out there that prayer for his family and that to thank this brave American for his service to our country, because at a time when President Obama said, well, no boots on the ground and no military in harm's way, this marks the third death in the Iraqi operation, where we're just supposed to be there as advisors. And this is on the heels of Obama pledging another 250 additional special operations troops to train and assist these local forces, in fighting ISIS in Syria. So prayers to his family. That's a tough one.
Yeah, they're all tough ones when it comes down to this, and the idea that, it's like, that Barack Obama knows that he needs to put more boots on the ground over there, and this trickle in little at a time, and then trying to justify it. It just more points. It points more towards the idea that this guy is more interested in his legacy than he is anything else. It's all about him and how he wants to be portrayed by the time he's out of office, and it sickens me. I can't think. I was telling my wife the other night, I can't remember. I was not a big fan of Richard Nixon. I served in the military during Nixon's administration, and so there were issues I had with him as a commander-in-chief. But I can't remember a time in my life where I looked at any president or any candidate and thought, you know what, this is just a despicable human being. And I every time I look at Obama, all I see is this smug, despicable human being. And there's just, if we were going to call anybody Lucifer in the flesh, I think this is the guy that we should be directing those comments at. And, by the way, his cohort, Hillary, who I can't stand to look at either. So, anyway, Don, we're out of time here. I want to give you a moment to plug your organization, Act for America, and your show.
Well, gosh, thanks. I appreciate being a part of your show. Thank you, John, for the opportunity to join you and share some thoughts about what's going on here in this country. You guys do a great job, and I hope you continue to gather more listeners. Our show that I'm on daily, it's the Jen and Don Show out of the Inland Empire area of Southern California on AM 590 The Answer. And the organization that I am most closely involved with is actforamerica.org. And, of course, Brigitte Gabrielle's organization involved in the education of Americans about the stealth and actual violent jihad of Islam.
All right, my friend, and we'll look forward to having you back. I'm hoping that you really take seriously my offer to come on every week. We love having you on here.
Bless you. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. All right, my friend. We'll talk to you next time around. God bless.
And you guys too. Take care, Joe. Bye, John.
All right.
Thanks, Don.
All right. Okay, guys. All right. We're getting ready to kind of close it all up here, but I wanted to, Joe, any remarks that you want to make here before we get heading into the close of the show?
Well, like Don brought up, I mean, there's other news going on out there besides Donald Trump and whatever, he's crapping out whatever each day, it'd be nice. We say, hey, it'd be nice to have a crystal ball so we can see what the future holds for us. Well, we do have a crystal ball. It's called Europe. Look over to Europe right now, and you're going to find out what's coming to America real soon, especially if we have a third term of a Barack Obama administration with Hillary Clinton. It's going to be, it's not a pretty picture. These people are figuring out that with the Muslim refugee invasion that they've had last summer, it's not working out so well, and they're very, very angry at their elected officials that are in office right now, and they're finding it very difficult to maintain their power, and they're calling to the point where they're calling things unconstitutional, or and if you speak out against the government, it's hate speech and all this kind of crap, and to the point where they're having votes on whether or not that the country stay in the European Union. So we need to keep our eyes open a little bit to the east there with Europe, because that's what's coming our way, folks. That's a coming attraction coming your way, along with the riots in Cleveland.
Well, I one of the things I struggle with here at this point, there's a lot of jocularity out there lobbed at Donald Trump when he talks about foreign policy, because I do believe the guy knows very little about what's actually going on. I think that when he does get in office, he's going to find out that being the great deal maker that he thinks he is isn't going to really work in this kind of environment. But
some people, you can't make deals with some people, because they just want you dead.
Yeah, and if you're making great deals with the 1040 window over there in the Middle East, you can just about bet they're going to figure out within 24 hours how to negate that deal and take everything from you and give you nothing in return. I think we've seen that with Barack Obama. But one of the things that's really difficult for me to get my head around is how Hillary Clinton is going to shape her foreign policy, because we know Barack Obama is driven by ideology. He's an ideologue, and he looks at the United States as an occupier. And we're colonists. We like to go out and colonize it through oppression and occupation, that kind of thing. Hillary Clinton doesn't think like that. She's more of a neocon in some respects. She's certainly a globalist. And when you think about all the ties that she has, the financial ties now, those things under investigation as far as her using her position as Secretary of State to bring money into the Clinton Foundation, she's indebted to some of these very people that she's going to have to define her foreign policy around. Yeah, and I'm just sitting here thinking, what is that going to look like?
Well, she's already compromised with her email. I mean, her private server was hacked by foreign entities, and so they have her over a barrel. And it'll come to light if she doesn't play games with him. She doesn't play with him. No. That's what's going to happen. She's a compromised individual, and at the national security level.
Well, I know. I was listening. I was listening to Judge Napolitano last night on Fox News. I'm not really a big fan of this guy. I think in some ways he's kind of like Judge Judy on steroids, something like kind of like that. But one of the things that he did point out, I thought was very accurate, was the fact that what we had in terms of the Justice Department, I guess let slip the other day, that the FBI is actually conducting an investigation, a criminal investigation, something the Clinton campaign has been denying, and even Barack Obama has been denying. But something I guess it was somebody filed under the Freedom of Information Act for some information, and the Justice Department said we can't do that because of the ongoing criminal investigation.
Oh.
Okay, so it was slipped out. It was let out of the bag that there's an investigation going on. This is not just a security check or a security review, as Clinton was claiming. So when we look at this kind of stuff and you think, they were talking about the idea or the actuality or the probability that we will be talking about this in terms of her espionage, was the word they used, before the convention, the Democratic convention, but then the Clinton Foundation corruption stuff will probably run into a term should she get elected. Now there's a mess for you, and then you throw foreign policy in on top of that. So it's going to be a mess. We're out of time, folks. It's time for us to go. We love you all. We'll be back tomorrow, 3 o'clock out here on the West Coast, 6 o'clock on the East Coast. Once again, shout out to our new audience out there at Red State Radio. We love you guys. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in to this edition of the Conservative Syndicate, the globally syndicated, politically incorrect talk show that seeks to tear down the imaginary wall of separation between church and state. We want to make you aware you can find and access all of our show archives at our website, theconservativesyndicate.net, as well as our broadcast stations and times. That's the conservativesyndicate.net. We so appreciate you taking time to tune in, and we so look forward to continuing to bring you the best and uncompromised talk radio available on the net today. And remember, folks, it doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down in life. It only matters how many times you get up. I'm John Matthews, signing off until next time, right here on the Conservative Syndicate. God bless you, and may God continue to bless America.